Hey everyone, welcome back to the cabin. In this week's video, I want to give you a tour of our off-grid property that we purchased a little over a year ago. You can see some of the mess that we purchased, as well as some of the things we've done with it since then. Come along for the ride.
Alright, today we're going to start the tour of the old abandoned cabin that was on the property when we purchased it. A little history here that we know of. This old cabin is a traditional D-log style cabin, or three-sided log. Each log is cut to have 3 square sides and to be roughly the same thickness. This cabin is 20 feet wide by 24 feet deep, with 10-foot walls and a roughly 7/12 pitch on the roof. There's a loft that covers about half the space. This structure was started about 15 years ago and was abandoned a few years later. The roof sheathing was about 90% complete. If they would have finished the sheathing and added the metal, this structure would have been much more salvageable.
So this cabin was abandoned about 10 years prior to us getting ownership of it. And so there's a few of the neighbors here on the lake subdivision that have helped stabilize a little bit, so the whole thing wasn't a total loss. So I know a lot of this foam board insulation was thrown back into the cabin after bear and other things had scattered it around the property, just to kind of clean it up so it didn't look like a mess. The bear do like to play around with this, so there's a chance they'll still get into it. Obviously we're just going to leave it here. Problem is, because of that, a lot of it is broken, so a lot of it's not super usable. Also got some mold and other things growing on it, so we'll probably just haul all that out next winter, unless we can find a few pieces to salvage, be able to use for some things. We got a lot of trash to just get out of here, so it's a lot harder than just throwing it in the back of the pickup truck and hauling it to the dump. We have to haul everything out by sled, everything in by sled, so it's quite a bit of work to make happen. This insulation here, there was quite a bit of it in the cabin, and so we used that in the floor of our other cabin, and the rest of this will probably end up just hauling to the dump. It's been pretty weathered, chewed on by some wildlife and different things throughout the time, so not a lot we can salvage out of this area here. It's an old tent that they used when they were working on building the cabin, I believe, and so not sure much salvageability to that, but we'll have to tear that down and get that trash hauled out of here as well. So a few other tools. I haven't even ventured into the back of all these corners. Snow rake. That's seen better days. A lot of just junk. What's this? Honestly, I haven't even dug through all of the things here. Arctic shield. It's like an ice fishing tent. No way. Wish we would have dug deeper before. Looks like it's still packaged from the factory. complicate the setup until you figure it out. And then they just are simple. Well, look at that! You never know what you're gonna find. Ready to rock and roll. Guess it's good to have two of them when you have an ice fishing cabin. It's this giant old... Oh, careful where you step. This giant old wood stove. Pretty rusted out. In rough shape. Thick metal though. Burned for a long time. I don't know if we'll actually use that in the main cabin, but we'll probably take it out and turn it into an incinerator to help us burn some of the extra stuff we have around here. There are a plethora of prints, evidence of animals enjoying this area. We do have footage of some from last summer, so we do know that bear around here, mostly black bear, a few grizzlies. So there's quite a bit going on there, but definitely some treasures we can salvage. Chimney damper. So, yeah. $10 here, $15 there. The generator that we had was a nice generator. We sold that, traded it out for our inverter generator. And the ice fishing tent. Now we have an ice fishing tent to go with our other ice fishing tent. So a lot of the things in this corner were things that we brought in. Buddy heater was here, so there's a nice buddy heater in the back. Things that we salvaged. Same thing. Apparently, ice fishing was kind of what this was used for, is the storage for ice fishing. So previous to this, I had some ice fishing gear. There's some extra that's in that bucket. Those 4 poles were all my gear from beforehand, but we've since added to that as well. Quite easily, a significant amount of value in things. The metal for the roofing we found outside. There's also some ridge cap, as well as some other fascia flashing that's down there. So thousands of dollars worth of materials that weren't even installed that we can use, and then the thousands of dollars worth of logs that we will salvage here at some point when we get around to it, after we can get that other cabin finished. So we're still probably a year away from thinking about this side of things, but this will be a nice cabin. Once we rebuild, it will be similar in size, with a loft similar in size, so it'll be a nice big space for us to come and entertain and just enjoy time with other friends. So you can see here, this foundation had some serious issues. I still don't fully know how this was all set up. This front pier obviously is way up in the air, probably at least a couple feet higher than where it's currently sitting, which I'm guessing was the front pier for the deck, which makes me think, unless for some reason that got pushed up out of the ground, the whole cabin was up that high at one point. So another pier over here that obviously the cabin has fallen off of, and this was blocked up to keep it up. I've heard that might have been one of the neighbors that did that to help try to salvage the cabin, with the hopes that it would get finished someday. One of these days I'd like to get an actual builder out here to take a look at what we're dealing with, but from what I can tell, there's enough rot and stuff on the floor that there's no way for us to salvage what's here. So it's going to require us to tear down basically the whole cabin and redo the foundation properly, and then come back through, redo the whole new floor structure, and then start rebuilding from there.
Seeing the massive amount of work to bring the old cabin back to life, we decided to build a smaller cabin over a little on the property. This cabin will give us somewhere to stay while we work on the log cabin, and serve as a guest cabin as soon as the main cabin is finished. We're only about 80% finished on this cabin, but come take a look at where we are so far.
Over here is my corner of tools and junk, other things we still need for the project. Most of that will be able to be cleared out once we actually finish everything, and so that'll be handy. That area will be a space underneath the stairs eventually. I'm going to build a ladder that will lean up against the wall so the girls can use that to get in and out of the loft. Moves on to our bedding. I didn't really want to go with bunk beds, but because of the tightness of the space, it was really our only option. So we got the bunk beds over in the corner, little dining area in the middle, and then kitchen here on the right. This is our temporary kitchen setup. Right now we're just using the Coleman 2-burner. I have a Blackstone, 17-inch Blackstone that we'll use here eventually, but I held that back to the other side of the river so we could take it this summer with us. The longer term plan here is building some cabinets that will fit our cooler, as well as a sink, and then we'll build some shelving up above here that will fit all of the extra things that we have, kind of serving as our pantry. So still some work to do there, but functional as of right now. We've got this wood stove. This wood stove is significantly too large for this cabin, but it does a great job at getting it from -10 degrees when we show up here sometimes up to temperature that we can enjoy pretty quickly. It does shut down well, so I can damper it down so I can get a slower burn and cool it down that way. And so that does a good job of keeping us warm all night long while we stay out here. This front corner over here is going to be dedicated to our stuff. Oftentimes when we're here, it's in the middle of the winter, so we have tons of snow gear and different things like that. I started building a coat rack and made that there. We're going to add some shelving as well as some other hooks up above so that we can have room for snow machine helmets and hats and gloves and all that kind of stuff. Finally, that brings us back over to our couch. Every good place to relax has to have a nice couch, and so that's what this is doing for us. It fits in the space really well and is very comfortable for us to sit and hang out with. Loft space up here is where the girls stay. They've got it set up with a beanbag chair so they can just enjoy sitting up here.
Our cabin is powered by a solar panel. I have a separate video detailing that entire system that I will link to at the end of this video. It's kind of the nature of the way things work. We haven't been here in the summer much at all. We were here last year, the end of May, and we cleaned up a fairly large amount, but still a lot to do. The insulation you can see is just strewn all over. Bags of concrete that are now shot and worthless that should have been used for a foundation that weren't. And then this big ring, I don't know what the intention was for that, but Skylar claimed that. She said that she was going to turn that into a hot tub, so we'll see how that goes. Maybe someday we'll figure out how to turn that into a hot tub. And then we've got the outhouse. So this is the last project that we got finished this last winter. A huge upgrade for the property, making things a lot more user-friendly. Our property is about 5 acres and has over 300 feet of lake frontage. This gives us beautiful views over the water in the summer and world-class fishing year-round.
It has been a lot of fun showing you guys around the property. It's been a lot of fun as a family working on developing it into what it is today. And like I mentioned before, if you want to check out that video about our off-grid power system, take a look at this video right here.